What's up everyone, Adam here from Cape Crawlers, and today we're going to take a look at the new FCX24. Welcome back to the channel everybody. Got a special episode for you today. We got our hands on a brand new FMS model FCX24 Power Wagon. So this thing is cool, right? So let's do an unboxing and take a look at it. But first, before I open it, let's just take a look at the package here. So it's got a nice looking box. It's got diagrams and kind of features all over it. Looks like this is just a cardboard wrap on the outside, and the real box itself is like a styrofoam box on the inside of this cardboard wrap. But let's see what we got. Right, it's cool. It's a stamped FMS model there on the front. Looks pretty good. Let's open it up. Alright, let's see what we got here. We have a bunch of stickers. We have our cage for the back spare tire sits on. Looks like we got our battery toolkit. Let's see what else. We got some spare parts. Looks like a spare differential set. Plastic gears. I did know that coming in here, but that's just one thing to point out. Plastic gears on these. Let's take a look at the model itself. Alright, there it is. Opted for the blue. I love the blue. The blue and the red. Looks good. Nice hard body. I like it. Paint looks good. Cool. Let's see what else we got. We got the remote. Small remote. Look at that. Tiny little remote in here. Much smaller than the Axial SCX24s. It's got a good feel to it. Right. So here's the rig itself. Very cool. I like it a lot. I like this style. I like the Power Wagon a lot. It reminds me a lot of the movie Jeepers Creepers. Not the Abomination that was the second one, but the first one where the villain had that really cool, I don't even know what it was, that sort of vehicle that he drove around in. It was like a Power Wagon / van. When I first saw this, it reminded me of that a lot. So I'm a fan of the looks. I like the look of the Power Wagon here. Tires feel pretty good, pretty soft. You know, there's definitely not a lot of room to squish there. Suspension action feels pretty stiff. Nice and smooth though. It's got decent amount of travel, especially for a stock rig. Let's see what about parts here. So it does say ready to run, but there is some assembly required, I would say. You have to build the cage that the spare tire sits on. All these components are right here. There's your battery and your charger. I do really like that it comes with the tool, so you can work on it. You don't just get that little Allen key that comes with the axial units. This has like the wheel nut wrench on here, a bunch of different sizes. So this is a nice little feature here. You'll be able to use that on all the other stuff we have. That battery, not going to be compatible with any other crawlers that we have. That's going to be specific to this one. Charger. I talked about the extra gears, so it's nice that they include this because the portals in the front, portal axles, very cool by the way. With the plastic gears, it's nice to have this extra set. And I could see, very valuable to have that on hand. Again, looking at the remote, much smaller than the SCX24s. Does feel good though. It does not come with batteries on this one. So again, it comes with the battery for the rig. Does not come with batteries for the remote. So we'll have to see if we can score some of those from some other thing down here and then get this thing up and going. See what else we got. sticker sheet, so that's cool. They give you some customization options, so you get different license plates, which is pretty neat, and then the stickers to go on the sides. So cool stuff. I like it. It's a nice little kit here. A little more work than the axial to get it up and running, but I guess you could just plug it in and run it. You don't need to put the cage or anything on. It's optional. I like the cage personally. So I'm going to assemble this. I'm going to score some batteries, and then we'll fire this thing up. All right, here is the Power Wagon fully assembled. It is a little dirty, only because my son saw this thing and was immediately enamored by it, fell in love with it instantly, and took it away from me and ran it all afternoon. So it's a little banged up already. It survived the 4-year-old. It's a little dirty, but that's all right. So it's had a good initial run. So let's talk about the assembly here. So what I did is I put the roll cage on. I like the look of the roll cage, like I said. Went together very easy. The spare tire carrier kind of snaps on these two pillars here and holds them together. As far as I could tell, it did not come with the bolts to put the cage or secure the cage to the top rack here. I ended up using some of the black screws from the FCX24 and kind of threaded them in there, no problem. It came with microscopic screws to put the filler nozzle on this little scale gas cap. If you were frustrated with the screws that came with the FCX24, my word, these things were super tiny. But thankfully, that's not the norm for this thing. Most of these look like they're decent sized bolts, pretty similar to the FCX24, so it shouldn't be terrible to work on just from looking at it. Fit and finish, you know, I'm really impressed with it. I like the hard body a lot. The tires and wheels, you know, I get it why they went with the tires that they did, but these aggro tires, I think this is really going to limit it. It looks good from an aesthetic standpoint, and kind of with the whole Power Wagon, you know, the butch kind of theme that it is, and I can see what they were going for here. But I'm really anxious to see what it can do with some upgraded tires. And I've seen folks already changing out the tires and wheels. But we'll run it for a good time with these tires on here and see. I like the red wheels and these farm tractor style wheels. I just think it looks really cool the way it is. Like I said before, I just really like the look of the Power Wagon. It's just a cool looking rig. Assembly, again, pretty easy. It comes with a variety of stickers. You know, I opted for the black stickers on the side. It's got these Power Wagon stickers that you can put there if you want to, or you can put no stickers on it. So it's cool that they give you some customization options right out of the box, which is nice. One thing I did find, and I don't know if you can see it, the roll cage broke almost immediately, which is a bummer, because like I said, that was one of my favorite features that did not hang on. Let's compare this to an FCX24 before we take it out and do some runs with it. So here is a bone stock deadbolt. So you can see very easily it's taller and wider by a long shot. It's also quite a bit longer as well, probably by half an inch or so. So it's just an overall bigger truck. I can see the ground clearance stands out immediately because the portal axles that come stock on the FCX24 gives you tremendous ground clearance on this thing. The overall center of gravity is much higher, so we'll see how that translates into real-world driving. Look at it from a head-to-end standpoint. You can see just how much higher the Power Wagon sits. Yeah, it comes with the tires and wheels that are on the Power Wagon, much bigger. So just an overall more of a menacing truck out of the box. I didn't weigh them. I should have. The Power Wagon feels much heavier, much heavier than the FCX24 does out of the box. So I'm really anxious to get these head to head, but we'll do that in another video. But this is more just like a visual comparison standpoint. Shocks on both. The FCX, again, I think it has significantly more suspension travel. They're stiffer as well. You know, similar kind of bounciness to them, but more suspension travel on this one. So it's going to be interesting. They're two very different rigs. So it's going to be interesting to put them together head to head. On paper, the FCX24 walks all over the FCX24. I mean, some of the features that we're going to go over with the FCX24 are very, very impressive for an out-of-the-box truck. And you can kind of see the results of those just from this visual comparison here, but we'll get into that a little later. Right now, let's take a look at it out in the real world. Let's do some runs. We'll take it out in some trails and some rocks and some sand, and then we'll also try it on the indoor course as well, and then come back with our final thoughts on it. So I'm excited to give this thing a try, so let's go check it out. So here we are in the indoor course. Let's give this thing a whirl. Noisy little thing, I gotta say that. Not obnoxious, but it is noisy. Noisier than the FCX24. Vertical climb is good. One thing that has really impressed me with this thing, the 2-speed gearbox is amazing, and the low speed has near brushless speed capability. It's just so smooth and controlled. It's hard to believe sometimes that it's a brushed motor. Like it just slow crawl is really, really good. It's got a good approach angle. I did notice that. It's able to take on some really aggressive obstacles. That's a good one. Oh, nose heavy though. Pretty stable through there. The suspension does a pretty good job. Let's try some aggressive lines here. See, there's that slow speed control and the grip. Even with these aggro tires, it works good. Power's there. Plenty of power if you need it. Man, it's tough on that downhill though. Reverse is tricky. I don't know if it's me doing something wrong or if it's the rig, but I'm having trouble with reverse. I'm gonna do this route. There we go. That's better. Doesn't like downhills at any angle. So it looks pretty like it can do everything on this side of the course pretty easy. Let's try Mini Moab. Let's try the chute. Not a problem on the chute at all. Right, let's try the escalator. Tell these tires do not like this terrain. I can see the tires are holding this thing back. The reverse is really giving me a hard time. I'm having a really hard time controlling reverse. And I don't know if that's me or if anyone else has experienced that issue, but I'm having a lot of troubles trying to get reverse to engage. Man, I don't know. If I come at this from a different line, give it a little bit of a competitive edge here. Well, we might be just 1 for 3 on Mini Moab here. Let me give it one more shot. Well, I guess that's it. So I did everything on that side of the course. We got the chute. I have not tried Hell's Gate because if it can't make it up here, there's no chance it's going up Hell's Gate. All right, the FCX24, let's talk about it. Now that I've had some good amount of time on it, I've taken it on a bunch of different terrains. I've run probably two and a half full batteries through it. My son has played with it a lot too. So we've had a good amount of time on it in the last day and a half that we've had this thing. So I'm going to give you my thoughts here. Let's break this down into a couple different parts. So I'm going to tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and kind of my final thoughts. So let's do the good things first. Let's talk about what I like about this thing. Number one, I like the features that it comes with. The 2-speed transmission is amazing. So much fun. The speed and the just the capability of this thing in high gear is amazing. It'll do jumps. It goes faster than a brisk walk, I would say. It's pretty quick, very quick. My son thought it was hilarious and had so much fun with this thing when I showed him how fast it can do, because that was like his biggest gripe with the crawlers, was that they were just too slow and boring. They are too slow for a 4-year-old to keep his attention. But this thing, click it over into second gear and it's like our little race car. It's super fun. So the 2-speed transmission is awesome. And in low gear, when you click it down into low gear, And shifting is like effortless, by the way. So that's high, neutral, and low, and it's a flick of the switch on the remote, and it does it seamlessly. Low is very impressive and has near brushless capability from a control and slow speed standpoint. I was mighty impressed with the power and the smoothness of this thing in low gear. So I like to crawl. My son likes to hammer around and go fast. Works for both of us. It's cool. It's a win-win there. I really like the motor. It's got a nice big 130 size motor in it. Has tons of power. Like I said, in second gear, it's very fast, very powerful, very torquey in low speed as well. So I really like the motor. Definitely a great powertrain all around in this thing. I like it has portal axles. You got excellent ground clearance on this thing, and they look fantastic on this rig. So it's got tons and tons of clearance. They look great. I'm just like amazed that this thing comes with the portals from the factory. Super cool feature. I like the servo. The servo seems very strong compared to a stock FCX24. Had no issues with steering in a variety of different conditions. The steering is quick, it's strong, reliable, didn't fade at all. I was very impressed with that. So the steering was excellent. That metal geared servo, very cool. The shocks on this thing. So while they're bouncy and, you know, like stock shocks are, you know, they're bouncy, but they've got good amount of travel. But what's super cool about these things is that they're capable of being oil filled right out of the box. And they give you, I don't have it in front of me, but they give you the kit, the O-ring kit, to put in these stock shocks to make it so that you can fill them with oil. So I've already seen folks taking the springs out of them and just putting like 25 weight oil in these things and getting crazy performance out of them. So that's another layer of customization and tunability that's really, really cool out of a stock rig. Very impressive there. The lights are cool. It's got, you know, multiple stage headlights you control with the remote. Very neat. I like that. And it does have auxiliary plugs too that we can easily wire in different accessories too. So it's quite a cool rig right out of the box. I like the hard body. I think it looks great. It's tough. Like I said, my son has been thrashing it. It's taken a beating already, and the body seems pretty strong. It's much stronger. The paint, the body itself, the hard body, is much more scratch resistant than, say, the Bronco from Axial. So I like the hard body as well. And I like the option of the cage. I think that's neat. Like if you don't want to run the cage, it comes off really easy. If you do, it pops right on. It's got this little gas can in the back, just another little scale accessory, again, optional. So it gives you a lot of customization options right out of the box, which is pretty cool. So those are my likes. Those are the things that I really like about it. Let's look at the things that I don't like so much. So right off the bat, the roll cage that I said I liked a lot broke within 5 minutes of using it. I was just messing around in my office, driving over my shoes. It tipped over and the cage broke. It has since broken again on the other side since my son and I have been out with it. So I was bummed out about that. The cage itself has held up pretty well. And it does kind of pop off on the back here, but that's no problem. The cage itself has done well, but these little plastic pieces on the back here broke almost immediately. Similarly, the snorkel broke off within 5 minutes of my son driving around on the deck. So I had to super glue that back on there. So with the glue installed, it's held up pretty well. It's done okay. The hard body is nice. I like the hard body a lot. Taking it off is a challenge, I find. It has these 4 clips that you have to press. Yeah, the front you press out. See, I like getting my fingers in there is like near impossible. So I have a really hard time taking the body off. There it goes. So it's got 4 clips to take the body off. Once it's on there, it stays on really well, but I have a really difficult time taking it off. For my son, he is in no way is he going to be able to do that. He might be able to get it eventually because he's got tiny little fingers. He can get in there and do it, but I struggle with taking the body off. I'm having some troubles with reverse. I mentioned that in the run videos. I think that's my biggest complaint about this thing is I can't sort out the reverse function. And I'll see if I can duplicate it here on camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So there, reverse is dead right there. See, full throttle reverse, and I've got nothing. I have to do that, let go, and then it'll gauge. So if I go forward, no reverse, and then it will work. So it's like I have to tap it, and then it engages. Well, I guess I have to. Let's see now, yeah, there, and it's really touchy. So I'm having struggles with the reverse right off the bat, and that's a problem in technical situations. As you saw on Mini Moab, trying to pick different lines and get yourself out of tight spots, you need good reverse. You need reliable, smooth reversing function. And I'm having a really hard time with that on this one. And it was like that immediately. So I don't know if it's just my unit or if it's user error. I don't know. But I'm having some troubles with reverse. Another minor gripe, the remote is small, compared to an FCX24 remote. I don't have one in front of me, but it's a substantial size difference, and it doesn't stand on itself. You can't set it down. It doesn't balance, and that's a little frustrating. And I don't know why that bothers me, but it does. So you have to set it down on its side. So what are my final thoughts? What's the final verdict here? I would give it 4 out of 5 stars. And that's exactly what my Amazon rating was. So I like it a lot. I think for $150, it's comparable price-wise with the Axial SCX24, but you get a tremendous amount of features above and beyond what Axial offers. So like I said, the portal axles, the 2-speed transmission, the metal-geared servo, the suspension that is capable of being oil-filled and tunable, beadlock wheels, the customization options with the cage and the scale accessories and the stickers, the remote that has the auxiliary switches already built in. You just get a really rich amount of features in this thing, both from a performance and scale build perspective. So in that regard, I think they really hit it out of the park with this thing. It's very fun. It's fun for a lot of different people because of the options with the transmission and what you're able to do with it. It's got such a broad range of power, based on that transmission. I think it'll appeal to a broader audience because it has more options from a powertrain standpoint. You're not just limited to that slow crawler speed, the rock crawler. You can take it out in the beach, in the sand, and in the dirt and gravel pit or whatever, and just rip it and do wheelies and jumps and stuff with it. That's something that none of the Axial 124 lines are going to touch. This thing is in a league of its own from a powertrain standpoint. The performance is great right out of the box. So I'm really anxious to get it head to head and do some comparisons in real world situations directly head to head with the Axial. But I would strongly recommend it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. My son and I love it. We've enjoyed our time with it, and like I said, we really put it through the ringer the past day and a half, and it's held up really well. So I would definitely recommend it. Like I say, 4 out of 5 stars from me. We're going to keep playing with this thing. I'm already looking at what we can do for modifications to it, seeing how much flex we can get out of it, what we can do in that regard. So it's going to be a fun little project, I think, and it's nice to have some diversity in the 124 marketplace. And competition raises everyone's game. So I'm anxious to see what Axial does in response to this thing coming out and potentially capturing market share. So competition is good for the consumers, right? So this is going to be fun. So stay tuned as we do the head-to-heads. Let me know your comments down below what you think of the FCX24 Power Wagon. Have you tried one? I really want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts. As always, stay tuned. We're going to do some fun stuff with this thing. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.